So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Have you had a good training session? You look like you have.
Yeah, we have. The players did.
We've got to that stage in the season where everybody, I think, accepted that your opening fixtures were very difficult. Are you now approaching a different phase of the season where perhaps the fixtures are a little kinder and where, quite frankly, you've got to get results?
Yeah, I don't think we're in any position to have any arrogance about any of the games. I think every game would be tough, but everybody knows that when you play Man City and these teams, they have something extremely special. And but now we get to, I think, take the learnings from this first period of games and just move forward towards, hopefully being good in all the games coming forward.
What's the one lesson that you and your players have learned, would you think, above all others?
There's plenty, but the biggest thing for us is obviously the fact that every moment matters in the Premier League. Every moment, and it doesn't matter how you construct it, whether you have the ball, they have the ball, whether the ball is out of play. Every moment matters.
How pressurised are these games going to come now? You've got Brentford away, you've got Bournemouth away. Bearing in mind you've got 4 points from your 8 games and you've got to try and get points now from these games. Is there a little bit of extra pressure starting to build? Have you got to deal with that?
Look, it's always a difficult question to ask me because I've been pretty, I don't know if that's an English word, but impermeable to pressure throughout my career. So I'm not personally focused on that. It doesn't really concern me.
But for the players?
Maybe, but I look back at even last season, what's pressure, pressure of having to go back up because you've just been relegated, or pressure of staying in the best league in the world. I don't know. Whichever way I turn it, I always think that it's about just as a team being ready on the day and making sure that you're fighting for what you think you deserve.
Do you have to make a conscious effort to sort of have a look and see if anybody is feeling the pressure, though?
I think if it happens, you see it, and I think as well that you try and create an environment where players feel that they're being supported. And like I said, pressure. What's pressure? Pressure to get in the Champions League. Pressure to win the league. Pressure to win the Champions League. It's around every corner, everywhere. So those guys are coming back from internationals as well, where they've had to play to qualify for a big tournament. It's part and parcel of the job.
Has everybody come back okay? And in particular, has Darko Churlinov come back okay? Because this is some recovery story, isn't it?
Yeah, his story was quite scary, to be honest. And
can you explain what happened to him, please?
I don't know if I can use the exact medical terms, but anyway, we feared for him. He got ill, and
this was blood poisoning.
Unless there's a doctor sat next to me, I'm not venturing there. The only thing is he was ill. He was really poorly, and he lost a lot of weight, and lost a lot of muscle. We feared at some stage that he might have to take a season out. But I think he had the mindset and also probably a little bit of help of treatments and a bit of luck to recover really, really quickly, and to have him back on the pitches now. It's I think for all of us it's a feeling of relief a little bit.
And how desperate is he to play now in the Premier League? Because he's had game time this week, hasn't he?
I think that side of things doesn't change from anyone else. I think all the players at the club are really committed to being good Premier League players and to showing themselves in that league, and he's no different.
And on a lighter note, can I just ask you about the club looking for a drummer for Turf Moor just to crank up the atmosphere? I know it won't apply for the next couple of games, obviously, because you're away. What do you think about the atmosphere at Turf Moor? Are you in need of a drummer?
I think we have to separate the two questions. Are we in need of a drummer? I'll leave other people answer of this. It's for the custodians of this club to come to a decision about the atmosphere at Turf Moor. I think it's no secret. It's always been a tough place to come to. It's always been a place that lived with the game. And so the two are separated. I think it's like everything. You always try to improve 1%, where you can, and I think it's for them to decide whether this would actually add this percent.
And do the players look to the fans for that lift, or is it the other way around, or is it a mixture of both?
I think especially in England, the way football is experienced, I've always known it has to be mutual. So when the game has momentum, you get these really good atmospheres in stadium, and when the game obviously dies down a little bit, it's not like it's not necessarily going to turn into like a Germany type of thing where you've got like 5,000 behind a goal just singing because they want to sing 90 minutes. It's different, but I think people here really live with the momentum of the game, and that's the case at any place I've ever been in this league. I've had a few years playing on all those pitches and also abroad, and that's maybe the difference, I would say.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Stuart.
Hi there. Hi.
Just on team news, do you have any players coming back who missed out last time, the likes of Goodmanson and Benson, Redmond, others?
Yeah, there's quite a few players coming back. I think they're at different stages, so to make a decision whether they're ready for the battle on Saturday or not, that's going to be the next 48 hours to decide.
You've obviously had quite a few players away on international duty at various age groups, but do you see that, even though you lost players, do you see that as a positive that they have received international recognition?
Yeah, I mean, for a Premier League side, if no one wants your player, that's a problem. It's I think and they're doing well. They're I think we had a goal of Zeki with Switzerland, and we spoke about pressure, so it's all experience gained as well. They go in these moments representing their country. It's experience gained, and that's the value you have to see in it if they stay fit, of course.
Brentford this weekend. Their success over the past couple of seasons since they got promoted, finished in the top half last year, can that be almost a template for other promoted clubs like Burnley?
I think that the template of whether it's Brentford, Brighton, because it's more than just a season, of course, now. I think it'll be named as a template by many teams coming up in years to come. And the goal is always to better what's been done before, but it's step by step. I think year one for us is not about focusing yet what a Brentford has done and what a Brighton has done. It's just our own journey. But we're convinced that we've got an exciting squad for now, but for the future as well, that will keep getting stronger, and that's our model.
And finally, for me, obviously you've got games to worry about, but are the club already looking at January and the possibility of strengthening?
Always, but I think it's a different department of the club. I think it's a full-time operation, 12 months a year. But as well, a big part of the job is to make sure that the players that you're working with, that they reach the next level. And not just relying on the market.
Thanks, Stuart. Scott, would you like?
Hi there.
Hi. Yeah, just have a little drink.
Yeah, a little bit. Just been training.
Just going back to Darko, did you try and shield the players from the extent of his illness, or were you quite open with everybody as to what was going on?
I spoke to the captains, but because I felt they should know or get in touch, or but then as well, it happened in a period where the group wasn't really together. It happened over the holiday time leading into pre-season very early on. So it was a little bit of a different group at the time as well, and it was just making sure that those who were there with him, that they were aware of it.
Is it quite a difficult balance to get right? Because you want to keep everybody informed, you want to keep his friends informed, his teammates informed, but I guess not overwhelm them a little bit. No, I mean it's part of the things that happen in life. So I think we were feeling
I think there was a big period of fear and scare, but I think as the pre-season started, we became quite confident that he could recover, and that for us was then a turning point as well in terms of making sure that at that moment in time is just about integration again, making sure he's with the lads whenever he can, and we did that as soon as we could.
Have you had any good news this international break with regards to players coming back? And you lost Jordan Bear just before the Chelsea match. Is he back involved, or is it too early for him? And what's the extent of his injury too, Vince?
All I can say is that, again, we feared the worst. So it's always the way you look at it. He's not back yet, but we don't think the extent is dramatic. And for us, we hope we can. I mean, he's progressing well within his rehab.
What's he done?
It did a little bit of damage, landing wrong, and yeah, so we knew he was gonna be out for a few weeks, but we thought it could have been worse, and maybe a few months.
A real shame, because Jordan and Al-Dakhil had just started to play a little sequence of games together. It came when you got the point at Forest, the win at Luton. They were just starting to develop there, I think, weren't they? Yeah,
but in the end, that's why you build a squad, and sometimes the players that don't play, they want to be able to show as well what they can do, and that's why you have a squad.
Is it preferable, when you were playing, for example, to have quite a settled defensive partnership where possible?
Depends what period of my career you would have asked me. The last 3 years of my career at City, obviously, it could be anyone, any back four, any time, any game, so any position. And then obviously earlier on in my career, I was brought up a little bit more with that cliche of having a settled back four and stuff. I think it's in the end, I think the conclusion is it's a balance, but you don't get that balance. Last year we didn't get it as well until, especially with a new group, when you're trying to, because you have to get the group ready for the Premier League level. So it comes with giving new players a chance as well. Otherwise, what's the point of bringing them in? And you don't get that balance in the beginning. And then when injuries come in as well, then that throws in something that obviously we have to deal with.
It obviously has been a pretty brutal start with the fixtures you've had, especially at home. The results you've picked up this season have been away and against teams who potentially could be in and around you this season.
Yeah, which means we're going to have to play them at home again as well.
Indeed. How big a confidence boost was that, though, to go to Forest and get a point, to go to Luton and win when potentially they could be teams that are battling with you?
Look, the truth of it was that both games were very tough. But both games were also games in which we had a chance. And I think that's the starting point of this league. When you go into too many games and you don't feel you've got any chance at all, I think that you could be in trouble then. But in our case, we feel that there's certainly a chunk of games where this felt like a level that we can, we can claim to be in, but we'll have to prove it on the pitch now.
Brentford, I think, are 3 points above you. Would you expect them to be well clear of relegation this season?
Honestly, I don't know. It's hard to predict. Maybe in 2 or 3 months' time, it'd be clearer. But it's also, I think for us, it's our first round of games against every team. So we'll see. We'll see what the full picture is later on. Just
going back to the drummer, Vincent, you're quite a high-profile Premier League figure. You must have a drummer in your phone book.
not necessarily my. I would have said my pool of friends now.
No,
no, the drummers. I don't go out enough for that.
Cheers, Vincent.
Matt will go to the back. Just Remy from the Stone Roses. Remy from the Stone Roses, not in that book.
No, I don't have. I'm not on speed dial anyway.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi there.
Al-Dakhil had to withdraw from the Belgium squad. How's he doing? Is that a serious one?
Well, obviously he withdrew because at half-time against Chelsea he couldn't continue, but I think luckily as well the news is quite positive for him, so again, a decision to make by Saturday.
Are you a bit light on options at centre back? Obviously, with Ekdal and Bayer out as well.
No, I wouldn't say so. But it would definitely help to just be able to be a little bit more settled. But injuries happen. You don't always control that, and always as long as the players are not missing for massive chunks of the season, that's always a little bit hopeful for us.
You said the international break would be a good time to just assess where you're at. How do you reflect on the start of the season?
I'm past reflecting now already. You should have asked me this last week. I'm locked into Brentford now. But I think the key part is some of the points have already been mentioned here. But it's difficult in a sense. Okay, the conclusion is that there's a gap to how do you go? Yeah, no, well, there's a gap that. Thank you, Krabbers. There's a gap that we need to make up on with the top teams, the elite teams, because in the end, you mentioned how Forest away, which is a tough away game in its own, Luton away, which is a tough away game, and as you see this season, but I think it's important to be good in those games, but then in the end, you want to pick up your points against the top teams as well. And there's been moments that's cost us, and that's where we have to grow to. But I always said this about the team. What's exciting with the team we have is that I do think there's that balance between being able to have results now, but also just making sure that in the future we're able to get results against the big teams as well.
Finally, as well, Eden Hazard, someone you know well, announced his retirement. Have you spoken to him, and just how good a player was he?
Got in touch with his brother, so it will follow. But how good a player he was, I don't know. I remember him coming into his first training session in the national team. I think he was, if I remember, I think he was there already against Luxembourg, but I was injured, so the first time I think I saw him was Norway away in training, and you thought, who is this kid? You know, like way too comfortable. It was really, at that time he hadn't proven anything, and you think, who is this kid? You know, and so in training you think, I'll show him a little bit, and then in the first couple of actions, luckily not me but someone else gets done, and you're like, hang on a second, I need to be a little bit, I need to be aware of this kid, what's happening here, and then within 2 or 3 sessions straight away, I knew like this player is special. And there was a moment for me where he knows it himself. He was right underneath that bracket of Ronaldo's and Messi's. I'm not saying part of it because I don't know how, but you know what the top players have had is that consistency across 10, 15 years. It's probably the only thing that's missed to his talent, but in the end, still a wonderful career for a country, Belgium, where we didn't expect to produce these kind of players, and we had one of the magicians of the game.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, everyone, the embargo section now, please. 10